Toad Hancocks here with Visordown.com, and we are fresh back from the Isle of Man TT, where we were lucky enough to spin some laps on one of these beautiful machines. Sadly not this exact beautiful machine, because as you probably saw if you watched the TT, the weather was a little bit unreliable, so we didn't get any chance to film a piece to camera. So the good folk at Sutton Motorcycles in Tamworth have let me come down to their nice shiny dealership showroom to stand in front of one of their bikes and have a little chat to you. So first off, let's have a look at some riding footage. So, what did I think? Well, first of all, I've watched the TT since I was a kid. Never got the chance to go before. So it was a real bucket list opportunity for me. And if, like me, you've watched it for years and years and never been, don't put it off. This year, book a ticket, book the steam packet ferry and get yourself over there. Bunch of mates or not, you could go on your own and you would meet so many people. It's a real iconic event, and it's one that you can't miss out on, especially since it's so close to the UK. So, what did I think to the Fireblade? Let's start off with the engine. As you're probably aware, it's the 1000cc, 4-cylinder across the frame, and it's putting out about 189 horsepower, somewhere around that mark. For me, over the mountain, especially in the dodgy weather that we'd got, it was absolutely spot on. We did manage to get some dry running in, but the mountain was closed because of a crash, so we couldn't ride the full TT course. So we had to kind of go off-piste. And one of the things that did become apparent is that it is a very easygoing motorcycle if you want it to be. You look at a superbike like this and you automatically think that it's going to be one of these bikes that sort of wants to rip your head off and spit down your neck, and it really isn't. It's a very civilised machine, so you can poodle through towns and villages at 30 miles an hour and it doesn't complain like some superbikes would. You think of Ducatis and they're always kind of bucking and weaving and they don't like going slow. The Fireblade literally is something that you can just ride around like a big scooter in effect. But then when you get out on the mountain course and you get onto the flowing roads, veranda and over the actual mountain, it's such a good engine. It has got so much power and so much punch in all the right places. You're never wanting for anything, and if you do miss a gear into a corner, you're not left in the middle of the road trying to like click down a gear to find the next one. It's got enough torque that it will drive you through the corners. So, suspension on the bike is provided by Shower, and famously the mountain course is pretty bumpy. One of the reasons that TT riders tend to be a little bit bigger than the whippets that we see racing in series like World Superbike and MotoGP is because there's a train of thought that being a little bit heavier helps to smooth out the bumps. And I know it's a road bike, so it's going to be a lot softer than the race bikes, but on the roads it was perfect. We were hitting potholes and bumps and all sorts of sort of undulations in the road, and it never really upset it. Obviously I wasn't going at the pace that a TT rider would be riding at. I was going to my own pace that I felt comfortable with, but you know, it was bloody good. There are a lot of super bikes that you get on them, and they kind of they jar and they sort of feel that they're over suspended and everything's just a little bit taut, but not the Blade. The Blade is a very comfortable bike. I was out on it for a full day, which consisted of probably 70 to 80 miles of just riding around the Isle of Man, and then probably another 30 miles of just, you know, spinning a lap around the course. And the only time that I really felt uncomfortable was when we were going slowly. The faster you get, the more comfortable this bike gets, because you're in the position and you tuck down, and that's where it feels comfortable. The only time it starts to really feel at odds with what you're doing is when you're pootling around town or really slowly for long periods of time. So thumbs up to Honda on that one. It is a very comfy machine. I like the styling. I think it looks great. I think it's probably the best looking Fireblade that we've had in a long time, and I'm talking about probably since one of the earlier Fox Eye blades, if I'm honest. I thought all the blades after that, they kind of looked a bit bulbous and sort of inflated. It wasn't really my cup of tea. But yeah, this is definitely the best looking blade that we've had in a very long time. I also like the fact that it's a really easy to ride super bike. It doesn't matter if you've been riding a bike for 6 months or 6 years, you'll find the the Fireblade, really accessible and just easy to ride. It's got to be the easiest superbike on the market that you can jump on and ride. Another thing that I like, and although this isn't the bike that I rode, I particularly like the stealth black styling that they've brought out. I think it looks absolutely boss, and if it was a toss-up between this and the Honda HRC coloured bike, I don't know which one I'd be able to choose. It's hard to put your finger on something that you don't like when a bike can offer you this much in terms of, you know, commuting potential if you wanted to, track day potential. You could even do a little bit of touring with it if you got yourself a tank bag and a tail pack. If I'm honest, it's a little bit compact. I'm not huge, and I do find it quite small to squeeze yourself onto. You definitely sort of feel like you're sitting in it and not on it. Compared to something like the new GSX-R, which seems really spacious when you get on it, it kind of feels really small. It's not a problem as such, but it does mean that bigger riders will maybe find it a little bit more difficult to sort of fold them onto it, because you haven't got the adjustable foot pegs and the bars are set where the clip-ons are. There's not a lot you can do about it, but again, it's only going to affect some people, and to be honest, if you're buying one, you already know that it's going to be a little bit of a squeeze to get yourself on there, so it's not a huge problem. I think Honda have created a superbike which has really put itself back at the top of the tree. I know it's not the most powerful superbike out there, but I'm not the kind of rider who would be able to exploit a full 220 horsepower motorcycle. I mean, I've ridden them and they're fun, don't get me wrong, but I'm not the kind of person who can get 100% out of them. And whenever that happens, I always feel like I'm wasting a good portion of the motorcycle's potential, and it always makes me feel a bit, But because I can get closer to what this bike can offer, and I'm not saying that I can get anywhere near what a fast track day rider or a fast club racer or even a slow club racer could get, it just makes me feel engaged, and I like the fact that all of the performance is there, and even if you don't use it all, it's all accessible. And there's nothing in there that really particularly scares you. There's no shocks and there's no scares. It's got all the creature comforts that you'd want: multi-level traction control, multi-level engine modes, engine braking, which isn't something that you get on every sports bike in the class. And it's just a really great bike. So first and foremost, thank you to Honda for taking us to the Isle of Man. Thanks very much to Sutton Motorcycles in Tamworth for letting me come here and do this. And there'll be a full review going up on Visordown.com very soon.